Hey everybody, welcome back to Built for Medicine. I'm Dr. Corbin.
I'm Dr. Madrano.
And today we're going to talk about the levels of the game when it comes to getting into medicine and what we've seen be really successful, particularly in high school.
Yeah, so there's different stages to that really accumulate and get us to where we ultimately are as physicians now. So Michael, why don't you take us to high school, some of the things that you were seeing from your friends, from other people in high school about what they were doing to sort of set the steps to get into a good college and medical school.
Yeah, so it's actually kind of an eye-opening experience if you're not familiar with it. Where I grew up, we had AP courses. And that might not be novel to a lot of you all, but some people it might be. And these courses allow you to get college credit and also boost your GPA. And so, I had some friends take full set of AP courses in addition to their high school courses. And you'll see, your valedictorian with almost a 5.0 rather than the notorious 4.0. And that can be really eye-opening to a lot of students when they're trying to be competitive. In the same vein, you've got people trying to pad their resume filled with leadership positions in kind of key clubs that can make an impact. So Damien, tell us a little bit about the things that you saw in high school that made people competitive.
Yeah, definitely the AP courses a lot of people were taking, and there's a lot of pressure for some of you students watching to get really good grades, take courses, excel really well academically, because you feel like you need to do these things to get to a good college, and that will help you get into a good medical school and so on. So, from my experience as someone who took AP courses as well, I think the first thing to highlight is when I was first considering AP courses, I was really intimidated by the whole idea because I almost felt like I was a full-time athlete doing baseball and football, and I was kind of concerned that maybe the balance of doing those things outside of school plus heavier workload, maybe I'm not going to get the results that I want. Maybe this could actually hurt me. And I think, it's something that everyone has to ask themselves if they're prepared to really sacrifice and put in the work for these AP courses if they've got so much other things going on. But it's kind of normal to have that concern. I think ultimately I just recognize it as an opportunity, and some things you're just going to have to really take those opportunities and make the most out of them. And I'll tell you, for history, it worked out really, really well. I took AP history and got a 4 out of 5 on AP history, and that applied to my college credit. Didn't have to take any history in college. For calculus, not so much, and I struggled a lot in that course throughout the entire semester. So I think ultimately AP courses are going to help you more than they hurt. Another thing that people in high school are doing, of course, the SAT is something that a lot of students will have to take for entry into college. And there's prep courses, right? So I was taking prep courses with a number of classmates my junior year in high school. I remember them being very, very expensive. I'm pretty sure that I was able to qualify for some financial aid because we're talking like thousands of dollars and more for these courses. And so if you can look for those opportunities, if you need financial assistance, I think they may be there. If you talk to your school advisor, can probably give some direction about resources online. I just remember, on top of all the sports I was doing, like this is really exhausting, like having to show up to courses, classes, and there's definitely the whole test taking industry and the pressure of doing well, I felt. Just give it some thought. I think these courses really help for someone who doesn't have a strong work ethic or routine, I should say, because it is going to be hard for some people to really have a scheduled amount of time each day for these to study the material, and I think a course really helps facilitate that.
So one other thing that I want to mention that I thought was amazing and hopefully I can give some context to is that there really is levels to, this academia that we all do. And unfortunately, there are a lot of barriers that are financial. And it kind of makes the game unfair for a lot of students. And, we've seen some changes in our legislation to kind of help with that. And it's kind of an ongoing battle. But just to give some context, now that we're physicians and we work with a lot of attendings, that have children that are in the high school range, and they talk about some of the things that they're into. Some of them are going overseas and working on mission trips, and they're doing that yearly as part of what their school does. I can tell you for me personally, that was not something that I did or even thought about doing as a 15-year-old. And, they're going to talk about that on their resume, and I think that in a way that is fine because that's an opportunity that they are offered, but is a little bit unfair when a lot of, United States children will not have that opportunity, even if they really wanted it. I know some students that are able to get on publications in high school, which is amazing and also kind of frightening. Crazy. And I think that it's something to kind of discuss and talk about, especially for admissions. And there are a lot of kids that want to be physicians that just don't get the chance, and their competition is almost unrealistic. We say all this not to discourage those who don't have the funds, but rather to give context to the layers of this game of academia in the pursuit of being in medicine. And to show that, we're two people who did really well in school, but also didn't do some of those kind of out of the box, really expensive things that some students do, and that you can also be successful. However, if you're someone who has those means and don't know that it exists, talk with us, email us, because it does exist. And there's different ways to kind of continue to be successful.
And that really highlights an important thing: the people that you grow up with in your immediate environment, how much they contribute to your success, right? And the importance of mentorship, right? I couldn't identify a mentor in high school, but if you want to be proactive, potentially, if you can look for opportunities, I think that could be really, really helpful, and maybe speaking with an advisor can help with that. Some other opportunities that I had, going to a Catholic school that required community service. I think we were doing community outreach things every year as part of the requirement. So those were things I was able to add on to my CV. I'm not sure if other students have a similar experience, but community service is something that a lot of people look at in a positive light, and it's good to have something that you can do consistently throughout multiple years in high school, just to show that you're committed to something and that you have that there's value in giving back to the community in whatever way that you see fit.
Those of you who don't go to private school, there are countless amount of clubs, hopefully, at your school that you can get involved with. And if they don't have them there, you can reach out to a local organization that's in your area to get involved with. But I think it comes down to, at some point between elementary school and hopefully the middle of high school, you can have a time where you buy in. And I talk about this a lot because there's going to be a time where you start to say, I want these things for me. I don't want it because my dad wants it for me, my mom wants it for me. I want it because I want to be successful and I want to do the things I want to do. You don't have to have a specific straight and narrow goal set out, but to have a goal of something is really important. And if you can then work backwards, looking at what it's required to achieve it. And I think if you're watching this video, you're already starting on that. It's never too late. We've got classmates or residency, co-residents that started medical school after a full career. So there's always different avenues to do this. We're just kind of focusing in on high school. All right, so we talked about the different levels to this academia game in medicine, how you can pursue AP courses, get involved with extracurriculars, to all the way into publishing in high school and traveling abroad on mission trips. But what we want to talk to you about now is our upbringing and how it influenced our career choices, and some advice that we have for you to hopefully find your passion at this young age.
So definitely the first thing that comes to mind is personal experience with the medical field. And a lot of people will talk about this as a impactful moment, why they decided to pursue a career in medicine. And for me, it's very similar. I had really positive interactions with my own pediatrician, with a neurologist that I was seeing after I had some syncopal episodes, and had to see this neurologist who treated me for childhood epilepsy. And just the interaction I had with him, how kind he was, the different tools that he used to kind of assess, not just questioning, but he even had put one of those things on my head, EEG, to look at my brain waves. Yeah. And I thought that was all very fascinating. Within the context of what is going on with me, how do I understand this medical condition and the impact that it's going to have on me. And that's something that really resonated with me in high school, all throughout high school. At the same time, I didn't have mentors or people who were necessarily showing me the path to pursue a career in medicine. So there's some things that, I'd probably choose an athlete over being a doctor at that age in high school. But I think what ultimately really helped me, something I think is really important, is just trying to be more than one-dimensional and having interest in different aspects in high school, right? When it comes to sports and extracurricular activities, just trying to be good in so many things. And why that's important is because being well-rounded is going to do more for you. And no matter what career that you end up going into, ultimately, it obviously adds a lot of value to medicine. But I think all those other things really add to the growth as a person, and will have a huge impact on whatever career that people choose.
Yeah, and I think that's phenomenal advice. For me, when I think back, the three things that come to mind that my parents instilled in me were engineer, lawyer, doctor. And because I really liked math, engineer really fit. And my dad was an attorney, my sister is an attorney, and so naturally that was something that I was really gravitated towards too. But I'll say that when I was in the third grade, my grandmother, my Nana, she was diagnosed with breast cancer and she passed away. And that was a really challenging time for me, but you grow from that. And it was extremely impactful for me to see the physicians, the care that they gave my grandmother, all the things that she went through. And that was really the first time I interacted with what radiology is, from mammograms to CTs. It was extremely, extremely impactful for me. But I will say that nothing is a straight road. I didn't really call upon that until probably the middle of undergrad. And we'll talk about that in the next episode. But through high school, I had an azimuth. And it was more important to me to be successful than it was what that success looked like. And so for me, I think that my best advice for you all is to set a goal 5-10 years out and work backwards. I think that's most important, because you'll see it. If you want to be a physician, you're going to look at, they go to undergrad, they go to medical school, they go through residency, they take board exams, all the different things that you'll see. Maybe I don't want to do that, maybe I do want to do that. What makes them competitive, what doesn't, and it allows you to fit in all those pieces so that you can start at the appropriate time, come up with the things you need, and slide through as successfully as you can. If you guys found this helpful, stay tuned for our next video. I think you're gonna like it. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching that video. If you found it valuable, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.
We're definitely going to closely look at those comments for any feedback. Also, follow us on Twitter, Instagram at Built for Medicine, and feel free to email us at builtformedicine@gmail.com.